my name's Ben Snow. I'm a visual effects supervisor at ILM. I've been there for a bit over 20 years. And I just finished Avengers Age of Ultron, and then I did a thing with ILM's X-Lab group, which was a Facebook 360 piece that was a Star Wars related thing. Oh gosh, I can't remember the exact shot count, but it was something like, it was certainly upwards of about 800 shots that we did. And you know, Avengers is a very complicated film. The Marvel films, particularly the Avengers films, are, you know, big, epic productions. You know, I'd worked on Star Wars Episode 2 and on King Kong, which were very giant shows like that. So it's a good background for that. So for Avengers, we did all of the work involving Hulk. We did the opening scene, and we did the Hulkbuster fight, and then the big battle at the end, the whole climax of the film, where Sokovia takes off into the sky, and there's a big battle on that. So it was a lot of work, and just a great variety of work. It's always really enjoyable to do something that, you know, we had a bit of destruction, we had a bunch of sophisticated creature work with Hulk, and sophisticated creature work of a different type with Ultron. So it had just all sorts of challenges, and it's always fun to be on a project like that. There's no point just letting it be. And it was funny, Lorne Peterson in our ILM panel here at View was talking about how when they were being asked to come and join, get ILM up and running for Empire Strikes Back, how the producers, including George, were saying, oh, you know, we're going to reuse models from the previous, it won't be that bad. And of course, that's crazy. So with the Hulk, the design was to be the same, but there were a couple of things that we weren't, we thought that we could improve upon, and one of the things was basically just trying to get more detail through, because we knew we were going to be very close up on him, on his hands, on his face, that sort of thing. So we actually doubled the resolution of the model, and we reworked the shapes to be even closer to the shapes of Mark Ruffalo. So to give them more of a human basis and try and be in a position that we could capture more of his look. So, but his design was essentially similar. The other thing that we decided to do was try and take a different approach to the muscles so that we got something that we thought looked more physically correct, and particularly that showed more of the skin sliding over the muscles, like we were seeing in our, we have a Hulk stand-in on set, Rob de Groot, and he was, you know, very muscular, and he really helped us out. He did a whole lot of exercises for us that we videoed that were a good reference for Hulk, and we were able to shoot him for shots to help with Hulk. So that sort of preparation had been done on the previous film, but I think we were able to push the muscle technology a little bit further than we had before, and we were able to get more detail into the skin and make the skin textures a little bit more realistic and carry more detail through to the screen that was visible in the original model. And you know, honestly, we found out a lot as we were going along. So we definitely, you know, keep going if we do more Hulk. So I think it's interesting. We've developed over the years a lot of tools to help us with image-based lighting based on what we see on the set. But sometimes, depending on, you know, how much time is used, you know, the DP doesn't have a Hulk usually, although we were lucky with having Rob de Groot agreeing to get into the green makeup and the right hair and that sort of thing. So we had some sort of reference on set. But honestly, with visual effects plates, there often isn't as much time as if you had Scarlett Johansson to really get the light looking perfect on her. There isn't as much time that everyone has to work on the backgrounds when you're shooting plates. So you can take the lighting as a starting point, and the goal in my case is to say, okay, what we shoot on set, if I can reproduce that as easily and as quickly as possible, then my first take should look realistic. That's the base starting position. Then you have time to get into the beauty lighting, and that's the thing that you really want to have the artist focus on, because you want to light it like he's a leading man. You want to light Hulk like you're lighting Scarlett Johansson, like your leading lady. So given the same sort of care and attention, and that doesn't mean just reproducing what was there on the day, because with a hero, lead actor or actress, they'll be positioning little eye lights to get gleams in their eye. They're going to be bouncing, reflecting, flattering them with light, and that's what we want to do with our CG character as well. I think the art of distraction is it's to deliver the sense of the chaos that you should expect from something that's that destructive an event, but being able to make sure the story is clearly expressed. So sometimes you'll get, if the realism, and you might have this discussion with the artist working on a distraction shot, the realism would dictate the camera is just blasted with, dust and debris and that sort of thing. You couldn't really shoot it. So the artistry comes in where you want to suggest that. So wipe the camera a few times, lose sight of the Hulkbuster. There's a shot, for example, where Hulkbuster is dragging Hulk down the street and we lose sight of them briefly. And it's great when the director and the filmmakers accept that as an idea, and some of them will ask for it. But often you'll be like, oh, we want to see everything. And then you say, look, can we just blow the camera here? And they're usually like, yeah, actually, that feels more realistic. Sometimes you have to demonstrate it to them. But I think that that's really important, to make it feel a bit more like you're in the midst of the action. Of course, sadly, we have so much reference now of real cataclysmic events and that sort of thing that there's a lot of stuff you can study. For where Hulkbuster and Hulk crash down through the tower block at the end, we actually looked at destruction footage where they've actually just blown up tower blocks. There's so much stuff like that on YouTube that it's a really good event. But you don't want to necessarily tie it to an act of terror, right? So that's actually something that's interesting, because the audience has such a knowledge of what that footage looks like that it's very easy to wander into that territory, because you can't help but say, oh, well, we know, what this would be like. And you don't want to push it into an area that's too dark and that sort of thing. I mean, the important thing is that, Tony Stark is trying to avoid hurting people, and he's scanning the building, making sure no one's in there. So there's a lot of work put into the storytelling to make sure that, okay, they've created a massive mess and been painful, and it's actually not been pleasant for everyone, but it's been, they've tried to avoid. And it's been enough to get the world angry at them, but it's they haven't actually, they've really been trying not to hurt people.